If you don't quit telling me about your debt of honor, there's no way we can do business.
What business?
The truth regarding the life of the renowned William Smith remains a mystery to this day, so forget all you thought you knew about him. His status as a Cold War spy and the fact that he sent his co-stars to the emergency room went unnoticed. Many are unaware of William's genuine personality, despite his reputation for playing strong guys on TV. Many aspects of William's life have found their way into his work. Almost every role he portrayed, from Rich Man, Poor Man to Laredo to Hawaii Five-0, had a touch of his personality. What makes William unique, though, and why does everyone still find him puzzling? Stay tuned as we delve into the life of this renowned actor. As the old adage goes, Jack of all trades, master of none, explains William Smith well. He was a volunteer fireman, a professor at UCLA, and a man who learned 5 languages. He was an intelligence analyst and Russian interrogator during the Korean War. Beyond all that, he's a world-class bodybuilder who does incredible athletic feats. On one occasion, he reverse-curled 163 pounds and completed 5,100 sit-ups in 5 hours. Plus, you could recognize him from the covers of several weightlifting publications. So how did he become a legendary actor in Hollywood? Let's go full circle and find out William's starting point. With his rugged good looks, strong physique, and roles that portrayed the heroic figure of America's strongest man, he was probably a familiar face to anybody who has seen one of his films on television or in theaters throughout the last 70 years or more. He created an indelible impression on American show business because to his magnetic presence, which landed him role after role, more than 300 to be precise. Nobody knows how ordinary his journey was that led him to Hollywood. He was really pursuing a PhD before landing his most major position. Even now, when people hear that about him, they are startled. It might be surprising to hear that many actors and actresses don't have a childhood ambition of starring in a Hollywood film. You would have astounded William if you had gone back in time and told him he would become a famous actor. William, who was born on March 24, 1933, in Columbia, Missouri, fell head over heels for acting at the tender age of 8. He got his start as an uncredited extra and became friends with Hollywood heavyweights like Judy Garland and Lanny Chaney Jr. Seeing a film for the first time captivated little William. His early success paid off handsomely when he was cast in iconic films such as The Ghost of Frankenstein, The Song of Bernadette, and Meet Me in St. Louis. His career was on the rise in Hollywood at the tender age of 14. His apparent skill paved the way for an even more promising future. The acting career route grew less appealing to young William following those parts since he didn't achieve much thereafter. At this point, things start to become intriguing. William enrolled in the Air Force when he was 18 years old and played a pivotal role while serving. Among his many languages are Russian, German, French, and Serbo-Croatian, all of which he became proficient in. Throughout the Korean War, he flew clandestine missions across nations that shared borders with Russia. After completing his education at prestigious institutions such as UCLA, the University of Munich, the Sorbonne in Paris, and Syracuse University, he intended to continue his intelligence job and was granted top-secret clearance for his exceptional performance in his previous roles. William continued even after all that, which is to say that he accomplished a great deal for someone of his age. In addition to his athleticism and bodybuilding, he served in the Air Force. After taking first place in the global 200-pound arm wrestling tournament, he was presented with a weightlifting championship. Furthermore, he is the current record holder for reverse curling his own body weight. In addition to his martial arts expertise, he possessed black belts in Kempo Karate and Kung Fu. No one who read bodybuilding publications in the 60s and 70s could have missed William's enormous physique. With a height of 6 feet 2 inches, he was more than just muscle. He was a complete athlete in a variety of sports. When he wasn't crushing weights, he was out playing German semi-pro football, tearing up motocross tracks and hitting the slopes for some skiing. His extraordinary life earned him a slew of accolades. including a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Academy of Bodybuilding and Fitness in 1995 and an induction into the Muscle Beach Venice Bodybuilding Hall of Fame in 2010. At this point, we can already see how his background has greatly influenced his acting career. You see, when he started taking on roles in Hollywood movies, he became a sensation among directors. They definitely knew that he could give and take a punch, and I'm sure you've seen his role in Any Which Way You Can, where he and Clint Eastwood had an intense bare-knuckle fight scene. This fight scene is notable for being the most memorable fight scene ever filmed, not just because of how intense it was, but because it was actually shot without any stuntmen. William confirmed it himself, saying that it was one of the longest stunts he ever filmed. But that's not all. In 1970, he and Rod Taylor also shared an intense fight scene in Darker Than Amber. Everyone and their grandpas were in awe after witnessing what could be the realest fight scene in Hollywood. And it was real. Neither Rod nor William had a stunt double in any of the fight scenes. Here's what happened. Director Steven Soderbergh described the fight's intensity as jaw-dropping for its time, and it's easy to see why. During filming, an unexpected twist happened when Rod swung at William, who responded with equal intensity. What started as a carefully choreographed scene turned into a real fight. Because of that, William suffered not just one, not two, but 3 broken ribs, and Rod was left with a broken nose. Now, William was more than his fight scenes. No. He brought something that no other actor could ever bring to the table: his natural charisma. He was intense, and in every character he played, that raw intensity was seen. This made him one of Hollywood's most versatile actors. William didn't just act tough, he lived it. He trained with the original Mr. Olympia, Larry Scott, and was mentored by none other than tough guy Jock Mahoney himself. There was a time he was a full-on stuntman too, and he even turned down the chance to play Tarzan. William was respected enough to be made an honorary member of the Stuntmen's Association. And if that's not enough, he also boxed in the military for 8 solid years. He trained in Sanshou Kung Fu with Jimmy Woo and mastered Kempo under Ed Parker. And having said that, I bet you're wondering why, out of all his accomplishments as a linguist, an unrivaled record keeper for his country, a multiple-time bodybuilding champion, and so much more, William became an actor. Growing up in Missouri, William was captivated by the Wild West, and this fascination followed him to Southern California, where he began his acting career. As I mentioned before, a decade later, at the age of 18, he received an offer from MGM, one of Hollywood's most prestigious studios. Despite his plans to pursue a government position, he knew he had to make a choice, and he chose acting. As he transitioned to adult roles, William quickly made a name for himself on TV. He showcased his versatility in shows like The Asphalt Jungle in 1961 and the action-packed Laredo in 1965. He also made some memorable guest appearances on classic series like Gunsmoke, The Virginian, Perry Mason, Batman, Lassie, and The Mod Squad. In 1965, he really found his groove when he landed the lead role of Texas Ranger Joe Riley in NBC's Laredo. For 2 thrilling seasons, he enchanted viewers with his portrayal of a brave lawman, capturing the rugged essence of the Western genre. Even after the show wrapped up in 1967, Williams' impact continued to grow, leaving a mark on TV history. From his humble beginnings on a Missouri ranch to becoming a beloved TV star, Williams' journey ref. In the 1972 episode Hostage of Gunsmoke, William gave a powerful performance as a menacing character who confronts Miss Kitty, played by Amanda Blake. The tension builds to a climax when Williams' character brutally shoots Miss Kitty twice in the back, shocking the audience. This intense scene not only showcased Williams' talent for playing intimidating villains, but also solidified his reputation as one of the best bad guy actors of his time. Williams' role in Gunsmoke showcased the dark and complex characters that he excelled in, immersing viewers in the emotional depth of the story. This unforgettable role had an impact on the show, which was known for exploring the grim realities of the Wild West and marked a significant point in Williams' impressive career. Ron Harper, known for his role in The Planet of the Apes, has maintained a long-lasting friendship with William, the muscular actor famous for his part in Gladiators. Their bond has only grown stronger over the last 5 to 10 years. Before William's demise by the 1980s, he had switched gears from TV to big movies. He went head-to-head with Clint Eastwood in Any Which Way You Can, played Arnold Schwarzenegger's dad in Conan the Barbarian in 1981, and teamed up with Francis Ford Coppola for Rumblefish and The Outsiders, both based on S.E. Hinton's books. In 1983, he also starred with Patrick Swayze, Charlie Sheen, and C. Thomas Howell in Red Dawn. In 1984, at the end of the decade, he tied the knot with his second wife, Joanne, and they stayed together until he passed away. It would be reasonable to assume that William, who played villains so convincingly on screen, exhibited the same savage and menacing demeanor in real life. However, away from the camera, he kept his head down and concentrated on his work. There were no wild parties or scandals. He was known for being punctual, dependable, and giving it his all, particularly in those famous fight scenes. Even in his confrontations with Rod Taylor and Clint Eastwood, which escalated into a full-scale brawl, he seemed to accept it as a part of the job. Perhaps he thought, sure, it was a grueling job, but William was fully committed. He relished the challenge, and his craft took precedence over fame and drama. William was an anomaly in his personal life as well. He kept a low profile, focused on bodybuilding, and remained remarkably fit into his later years. He also did his own stunts, such as bending nails and ripping phone books in half. No one else had to motivate him. He did it himself. So, although he didn't have the usual wild actor story, his quiet resilience and devotion to his work made him a legend. William avoided becoming a caricature of his own fame, staying true to himself and bringing authenticity to every role without the need for off-screen romance. William Smith was the victim of typecasting, discrimination based on his appearance and persona, and casting directors who were more concerned with his physical appearance than his acting abilities would often overlook his genuine talent in favor of his tough guy image and large muscles. Smith longed to be seen in more diverse roles that allowed him to showcase his acting abilities. Speaking of memorable villain roles, one of William's most notable was Falconetti in Rich Man, Poor Man. Falconetti isn't your average villain. He's a brutal, twisted hitman who does seriously messed up things. William makes Falconetti so believable, so despicable, that audiences just couldn't separate the actor from the character. It's as if he was too good at being bad. A few fans got so worked up by his performance that they actually tried to attack him in real life, thinking he was this dangerous guy they saw on screen. Imagine the dedication it took for William to make Falconetti so real that people forgot they were watching a TV show. Plus, here's the kicker. He only appears in 4 episodes of Book 1, the first part of the series, but his character becomes the talk of the town. They had to bring him back for Rich Man, Poor Man Book 2 to keep the story going, which gave his character even more screen time, and of course gave those enraged fans even more reasons to hate him. Only a select few actors could convincingly portray a villain to the point where people believe he's real. While he was working on Laredo, Williams snuck in a couple of roles in Batman from 1966 to 1968, which became a massive hit and an important part of popular culture worldwide. In the final episode of the 1967 season titled Manura, Mayhem, and Millionaires, which aired on March 14, 1968, and was the series finale, he played Adonis, one of Mana's henchmen. William discovered a new passion in his later years: poetry. In 2009, he published his first poetry collection, The Poetic Works of William Smith, which offered a glimpse into another aspect of his creative process. The book contained 2 volumes, and despite his reputation as one of the toughest guys in film, it revealed a more personal side of him. The book is filled with photos, shots that any fan would love to see, particularly those that capture his happy moments with Joanne, who was there for him through all the chaos of Hollywood. But this collection of poems isn't really about his acting career or his time as a bodybuilder. Instead, William really dives into writing in this collection. His rhyme scheme makes it enjoyable to read, and what's great is how he takes you on a journey through all the emotions he's felt in his life, the good and the bad. The result is art that is really raw and honest. Reading these poems makes you think of all the characters William has played on screen. Many fans who have read his book felt like they were stepping into his reality. In the 1970s, William was a busy bee, juggling a number of film and television projects. One of his standout roles was in The Rockford Files, where he played a pivotal role in the protagonist's decision to become a private investigator. His performance in this show was truly remarkable, and the show featured an impressive ensemble of guest stars and character actors. In this series, William showed his versatility by effortlessly transitioning from playing a heroic lead to a villain. At over 6 feet tall and 200 pounds, he is often considered one of the best bad guy actors. The character he played in the pilot, a cold-blooded killer, set the tone for the rest of the series. Fast forward a few decades and William appeared on Walker, Texas Ranger and Nash Bridges in 1999. Both shows were huge hits in the 90s, and he got to work with other tough guys like Chuck Norris and Don Johnson. William's unique voice also landed him some cool voiceover jobs. In 2002, he made a big splash as Drag in the animated series Justice League. The character was in a 2-part episode called War World. Despite facing typecasting, William's unwavering commitment earned him more diverse roles over time. Critics praised his acting chops and his range as a whole. He was a tough guy, but Will Smith announced his retirement in 2014, but he didn't make his last film appearance until 2020, in a cameo in Steve Carell's comedy Irresistible. This showed that even in his later years, he still possessed the charisma and talent that captivated audiences throughout his career. Smith co-starred with some of Hollywood's toughest leading men, truly embodying rugged masculinity. He was also the last person associated with the iconic Marlboro Man commercials before they were pulled off air. Smith was laid to rest at the Motion Picture and Television Country House and Hospital in Woodland Hills, California. Surviving him are his loving wife of 31 years, their son William E. Smith III, and his daughter Sharon Cavali. The cause of his death was not disclosed by his wife Joanne, who wanted to keep that part of the story private.